It was a rainy night. I remember because the sound of the rain was the only thing that kept me grounded while I ventured deeper into the web. I had been exploring for a while, mostly out of boredom, when I found a link that wasn't supposed to be there. Bid on what you cannot see. Something about those words intrigued me. Without thinking, I clicked, not realizing that this one action would change everything. The page loaded slowly, and what appeared on the screen sent a chill down my spine. It was an auction, but not for objects. There were no photos, just cryptic descriptions. Lot 15, Innocence Lost. Lot 32, A Night You'll Never Forget. The bids were astronomical, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars. I didn't know what they were bidding on, but whatever it wasn't good. I kept scrolling, watching in disbelief as new lots were added. Each description was more sinister than the last. Then, Lot 47 appeared. My breath caught in my throat. A soul for the taking. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, my instinct screaming at me to leave. But I didn't. I kept watching as anonymous users began bidding, the numbers rising faster than any of the previous items. And then, without warning, my username appeared in the list of bidders. I hadn't clicked anything. I hadn't placed a bid. Panic surged through me as I tried to close the window, but the screen froze. My heart pounded in my chest. A message appeared. "Congratulations, you've won Lot 47. I stared at the screen in disbelief. I hadn't bid on anything, hadn't agreed to anything. But the message remained, taunting me. Before I could react, the screen went black. The rain outside seemed to fade away as a new sound filled the room. A knock at the door. I froze. It was late and I wasn't expecting anyone. The knock came again, louder this time. My mind raced as I crept towards the door. When I peered through the peephole, there was no one there. But something caught my eye, a small box sitting on my doorstep. My hands trembled as I opened the door and picked up the box. It was unmarked, no address, no name. Inside was a single piece of paper with a chilling message. Payment due in 7 days. I slammed the door shut, my heart racing. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew one thing for sure. I was in over my head. That night, I smashed my computer, convinced that I could end whatever nightmare I had unleashed. But the knocking didn't stop. Every night, at the same time, the knocks returned, louder, more insistent. By the third night, I stopped answering. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My entire existence had become consumed by the waiting. On the 6th night, I made a decision. I packed a bag and left town, hoping that if I ran far enough, I could escape whatever was coming for me. But as I drove down the dark highway, I heard it again. That knock. Only this time it was coming from the trunk of my car. I pulled over, my hands shaking uncontrollably. The knocking grew louder, more frantic. I didn't want to open the trunk, but I had no choice. Slowly, I lifted the lid, and there it was, the same box from my doorstep. Inside was another note. "You cannot run from what you owe." I threw the box into the woods and drove for hours, not stopping until the sun began to rise. I don't know what I expected to find when I returned home, but part of me hoped it was all over. But as I pulled into my driveway, I saw it. The box was sitting on my front porch, waiting for me. I haven't opened it yet, but tonight is the 7th night, and I know I can't run anymore. I've always been fascinated by the hidden parts of the internet. I thought I'd seen it all. The dark markets, the conspiracy theories, the illegal operations. It was all just a game to me, a way to pass the time. But that was before I found the thread. "Do you want to know what it feels like to disappear?" the title read. It sounded like another outlandish story, something too strange to be real. But I was bored, so I clicked. The thread wasn't long. A few users shared cryptic stories about people vanishing, leaving behind everything they knew. But it wasn't the stories that caught my attention. It was the user who posted the thread. Fade Out, they called themselves. Their post was simple. I can show you. I sent a private message, half expecting no reply, but within minutes I received one. Are you sure you want this? I hesitated for a moment, but curiosity won. Yes, I typed. The response was immediate, a single link with no explanation. I clicked. The screen went dark. For a moment I thought my computer had crashed, but then a video feed appeared. It was grainy, almost like a security camera. The image was shaky, but as it came into focus, I realized with growing horror that I recognized the room. It was my bedroom. The camera panned slowly, showing every corner of my room in eerie detail. My bed, my desk, the clothes on the floor. It was all there, exactly as I had left it. My pulse quickened as the camera zoomed in on the bed, where I saw something that made my blood run cold. There, lying under the covers, was me. I stared at the screen in disbelief. I was sitting at my desk watching the feed, but I could see myself lying in bed, completely still. I blinked, rubbing my eyes, convinced that I was seeing things. But the image didn't change. My body was there, unmoving, as if I was asleep. Or worse, I tried to close the window to shut off the video, but my cursor was frozen. No matter what I did, the feed remained on the screen. Then something shifted. The figure in the bed moved. Slowly, it sat up, turning its head towards the camera. I felt my heart stop as I stared into my own face, cold, lifeless, and staring directly at me. My breath came in short gasps as the figure stood and began to walk towards the camera. Towards me. I pushed back from my desk, scrambling to my feet. But as I turned to look at my bed, it was empty. The figure was gone. I spun around, my heart racing, but the room was empty. Yet on the screen, the video continued to play. The figure, my doppelganger, was now standing in front of the camera, staring into it with empty, soulless eyes. A message appeared on the screen. Now you know what it feels like to disappear. The feed cut to black and my computer shut down. I sat in stunned silence, trying to process what had just happened. Was it real? Was any of it real? My room was exactly as it had been, and there was no sign of the figure from the video. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. The next morning I tried to log back into the forum, but it was gone. My messages to Fade Out went unanswered, and the thread had vanished without a trace. I deleted everything, wiped my hard drive, and tried to forget. But every now and then I feel it. A presence, watching, waiting. I know it's still out there, and I fear that one day it will come for me. I've always been a gamer, the type who loves a good challenge. So when I found a deep web link advertising a game that only the brave can play, I couldn't resist. The description was vague, but that only made it more intriguing. It was called simply The Game. I should have known better, but curiosity got the best of me. I clicked the link and downloaded the file. At first, it seemed harmless. The game opened with an 8-bit title screen, a throwback to old-school video games. The music was strange, though, distorted, almost as if it was being played backward. The first few levels were basic, nothing special. But then, things started to change. The game began glitching. Random flashes of distorted images filled the screen. At first, they were too quick to make out, but the more I played, the longer the flashes lasted. And then, I saw it. The images weren't part of the game. They were real. A face, a room, my room. My heart raced as I paused the game, staring at the screen in disbelief. The image was gone as quickly as it had appeared, but I knew what I had seen. The game was showing me my life. I resumed playing, but now every level seemed wrong. The game was no longer following the same path. It was leading me somewhere, showing me things I couldn't explain. Then, it asked me a question. Do you want to play the final level? I hesitated, but I couldn't stop. I pressed yes. The screen went black for a moment, and then the game returned. But it wasn't a game anymore. It was a live feed of my room, my desk, my computer, the same place where I was sitting. I felt a cold chill crawl up my spine. The camera zoomed in, showing me sitting at my desk. It was real time, but I hadn't activated my webcam. I tried to quit the game, but it wouldn't close. The music grew louder, more distorted, as the camera on the screen zoomed in closer. My face was pale, my eyes wide with terror. A message appeared. You are the game. I slammed my laptop shut, but the music didn't stop. It echoed through the room, growing louder and louder until I thought I would go mad. I grabbed my laptop and threw it to the floor, but it didn't matter. The sound was still there, taunting me. I ran from the house, my heart racing, convinced that something was watching me. For hours I drove aimlessly, trying to escape the sound, but no matter where I went, it followed. Eventually, the music faded, but the fear never left. I thought I had escaped it, but last night I heard it again. Faint in the distance, but unmistakable. That same distorted melody. And I know it's not over. The game is still playing, and I'm still a part of it.